You're lying in bed, eyes closed, body still, but your mind is racing, replaying conversations from the day, planning tomorrow, worrying about things you can't control. You know you need to sleep, you're exhausted, but sleep won't come. So you grab your phone, you scroll, you watch something, you try again, and the cycle repeats, night after night. Here's the truth. Most people think they have a sleep problem, but they don't. They have a shutdown problem. Because your brain doesn't have an off switch. It doesn't just stop thinking because you're in bed. It needs to be guided into rest. And if you don't guide it, it keeps running all night. This is where the Japanese approach is different. They don't fight sleep. They don't force it. They create the conditions for it through a simple night routine that signals to the body and mind that the day is over. And once you understand how this works, you'll never approach bedtime the same way again. Let me show you what's happening. Most people treat bedtime like a light switch. They go from full activity to sleep mode in minutes. They're working, scrolling, watching something stimulating, and then they expect their brain to just turn off because it's 11 o'clock. But that's not how your nervous system works. Your brain needs a transition, a bridge between doing and resting. Without that bridge, you're trying to force sleep while your system is still in alert mode. And when you do that, sleep becomes a struggle instead of a natural process. In Japanese culture, there's a concept called yugure. It's the transition between day and night, the twilight, and it's treated with reverence, not rushed through, because the Japanese understand that transitions matter, that how you move from one state to another shapes the quality of both. And this philosophy extends to sleep. The evening isn't just the end of the day, it's a ritual of release, of letting go, of preparing the body and mind to rest. And when you treat it that way, sleep stops being something you chase. It becomes something that happens naturally. Here's a simple example. Imagine two people. Person A works until 10 at night, closes the laptop, scrolls on their phone for 30 minutes, gets into bed, tries to sleep, but their mind is still wired, still processing, still holding tension from the day. Person B stops work at 8, spends 30 minutes cleaning up their space, takes a warm bath, dims the lights, sits quietly for 10 minutes, then gets into bed. Same body, same bed, but person B's nervous system has shifted. They're not trying to force rest. They've guided their body into it. And the difference is night and day. Most people live like person A and then wonder why they can't sleep. But the issue isn't sleep, it's preparation. And this is where it gets interesting. Now, here's what most people misunderstand. They think sleep is about tiredness, that if you're tired enough, you'll sleep. But that's not the real reason sleep happens. Sleep is regulated by two systems, your circadian rhythm and your stress response. Your circadian rhythm is your internal clock. It tracks light and darkness, and when it's dark, it signals your brain to produce melatonin, which makes you sleepy. But here's the problem. Artificial light disrupts this. Your phone, your laptop, your overhead lights, they all send a signal to your brain that it's still daytime. So even if you're tired, your circadian rhythm isn't triggering sleep. You're fighting biology, and biology always wins. But there's a second layer, your stress response. If your nervous system is in fight or flight mode, it doesn't matter how dark it is, your brain won't allow you to sleep, because sleep is vulnerable, and your brain won't let you be vulnerable when it thinks there's a threat. Now, the threat isn't real, you're not in danger, but your brain doesn't know that. All it knows is that you've been stimulated all day. You've been reacting, multitasking, processing information, and that stimulation keeps your cortisol elevated. So even when you lie down, your body is still on alert, still ready to respond, and that's why you can't shut your mind off. You're trying to sleep while your system is still activated, and this is where the mistake happens. Most people try to solve this with sleep aids, melatonin, sleep apps, white noise, and those things can help, but they're treating the symptom, not the cause. The cause is that you never signaled to your body that it's safe to rest. You never gave it permission to let go. And without that signal, no amount of melatonin will give you deep, restorative sleep. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain needs a ritual, a sequence of actions that consistently signals the end of the day. And when you repeat that ritual, your brain starts to associate it with sleep. It becomes a trigger, a cue that tells your nervous system to begin the shutdown process. This is called a sleep onset routine, and it's one of the most powerful tools for improving sleep quality that most people never use.
Here's the second principle. Release the day, physically and mentally. In Japan, this is often done through a bath, not a quick shower, a bath. The water is warm, the lights are low, and you sit. You don't scroll, you don't think, you just let the warmth relax your muscles. And as your body relaxes, your mind follows. This isn't luxury, it's biology. Warm water raises your core temperature, and when you get out, your body cools down rapidly. And that drop in temperature is one of the signals your brain uses to trigger sleep. So you're not just relaxing, you're actively preparing your body for rest. But here's the key. You're doing it slowly, intentionally, not as another task to check off, as a ritual. Here's the third principle. Empty your mind. Most people go to bed with their thoughts still running, so they lie there thinking, planning, worrying, and sleep becomes impossible. But in Japanese culture, there's a practice called brain dumping. Before bed, you write down everything on your mind. Not in detail, just quick notes, things you need to remember, things you're worried about, things you didn't finish. And once it's written, your brain can let go because it knows the information is safe. It doesn't need to hold on to it anymore. This takes 3 minutes, but it's the difference between lying awake for an hour and falling asleep in 10 minutes. Most people skip this because they think their thoughts will just go away, but they won't. Not unless you give them somewhere to go. So here's the shift. Sleep isn't something you do, it's something you allow. And you allow it by creating the right conditions. Let me give you a simple framework. 2 hours before bed, start the transition. Dim the lights, turn off screens, slow down. 1 hour before bed, release the day. Take a warm bath or shower, stretch gently, let your body decompress. 30 minutes before bed, empty your mind. Write down your thoughts. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Let everything settle. Then get into bed, not to try to sleep, but to rest. And sleep will come because you've done the work. You've guided your nervous system from alert to calm, from doing to being, and your brain knows what to do from there. Here's the mental model. Think of sleep like landing a plane. You don't just drop from 30,000 feet to the runway. You descend gradually. You reduce speed. You adjust altitude. You prepare, and then you land smoothly. Your evening routine is the descent, and if you skip it, you're trying to crash land into sleep. It's jarring, it's stressful, and it doesn't work. But when you descend properly, the landing is effortless. That's what this routine does. It's not about forcing sleep, it's about making sleep inevitable. And most people never learn this. They keep fighting, keep struggling, keep wondering why something so natural feels so hard. But it's not hard, it's just misunderstood. Here's another reframe. Most people think they don't have time for a night routine. They're too busy, they need every minute. But the truth is, the time you invest in preparing for sleep pays back in the quality of sleep you get. 1 hour of deep, restorative sleep is worth more than 2 hours of restless, shallow sleep. So when you spend 30 minutes winding down, you're not losing time, you're investing it. And the return is better energy, better focus, better mood the next day. That sounds small, but it compounds, night after night. week after week, until your entire life feels different. Not because you changed everything, but because you changed how you end your day. Most people never notice this. They keep grinding until they collapse, and they wonder why they wake up tired, why they need coffee to function, why they feel foggy all day. But the people who sleep well, they've figured out that sleep isn't passive, it's active preparation. It's a ritual, and they protect it. They don't negotiate with it. They don't skip it because they're busy, because they know that everything else depends on it. And this is where the power is, not in working harder, but in recovering better. And recovery starts with how you prepare to rest. So here's the key insight. If you want to sleep like never before, stop trying to force it. Start preparing for it. 2 hours before bed, lower the stimulation. Dim the lights, turn off screens, slow down. 1 hour before bed, release the day. Take a warm bath, let your body decompress. 30 minutes before bed, empty your mind. Write down your thoughts. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Let everything settle. Then get into bed, not to try to sleep, but to rest. And sleep will come because you've done the work. You've guided your nervous system from alert to calm, from doing to being, and your brain knows what to do from there. This is the Japanese approach. It's not complicated. It's not extreme. It's just intentional. And intention is what most people are missing. They treat sleep like an afterthought, like something that should just happen. But your body doesn't work that way. It needs signals. It needs rituals. It needs to know that it's safe to let go. So give it those signals, create the ritual, and watch how your sleep transforms. Not overnight, but within days. And once you experience what real rest feels like, you'll never go back to the old way. Because deep sleep changes everything. Your energy, your clarity, your resilience, and it all starts with how you end your day. So if you want to learn more about the psychology of rest, recovery, and how to optimize your mental and physical performance, subscribe, because this is just the beginning.